San Antonio. Roughly 5 years ago, somewhere between nothing and everything, Fran Fraschilla asked Kelvin Sampson why. In the wake of his ugly exit from Indiana after NCAA violations, Sampson had transitioned to the NBA, where he spent more than 6 years as an advisor and assistant coach. Sampson built for himself a sturdy reputation in the pros, so much so that he started to look like an appealing candidate for a head coaching job there. Then, in 2014, he left the Houston Rockets staff to become head coach at University of Houston, an American athletic school with one NCAA tournament appearance in 22 years. The Cougars, by this point a generation removed from the halcyon days of Phi Slamma Jamma and 3 consecutive Final Fours under Guy Lewis in the 1980s, had tried everything. Pat Foster went to 3 tournaments in 7 years and never won a game in the NCAAs. Alvin Brooks, Ray McCallum, Tom Penders, James Dickey and program legend Clyde Drexler all combined for 1 tournament appearance. Once, in those early days, Sampson found himself commiserating to his wife, Karen, who eventually grew so tired of her husband's complaints she turned the conversation around. Follow the madness. NCAA men's tournament bracket, scores, schedules, teams and more. She said, "Why don't you stop talking about what you don't have and focus on what you do have?" Sampson said Sunday, remembering the moment. "I said, we don't have nothing. That's a long time ago now." Saturday night, Houston will play Duke in its second Final Four appearance in 5 years. The Cougars have become a model for roster consistency in an era of transience, a standard bearer for tough love coaching the sport increasingly considers outdated and, very simply, one of the best programs in the country. None of which answered Fraschilla's question those years ago, when he asked Sampson what brought him back to college. "I needed," Sampson told Fraschilla, "something to fix." Predictions. 5 reasons Duke won't win title and 1 why it will. Best ever. A list of the 7 best Final Fours in since expansion. Kelvin Sampson fixing Houston basketball and reputation. Fraschilla, a longtime coach and ESPN analyst, wondered, when Sampson told him he took the Houston job looking for something to fix, whether his ambition held 2 meanings. He wanted something to fix the way he fixed Montana Tech or Washington State or Oklahoma, Fraschilla said, and in fixing Houston, I think he also fixed what he contextualizing those misdeeds now as difficult. Most of the actual rule-breaking involved calling recruits too often, or in restricted circumstances, crimes that seem petty in comparison to some that followed them. In fact, realizing players knew how to fence communication better than anyone else, the NCAA relaxed or eliminated most of the rules Sampson broke not long after his dismissal. They almost look nickel-dime now, Fraschilla said. After serving a 5-year show cause working in the NBA with Greg Popovich in San Antonio, Scott Skiles in Milwaukee and Kevin McHale in Houston, Sampson returned to the college game with what Fraschilla called a Ph.D. in basketball. But Sampson's demands on his players remain the same, and so even as he applies modern concepts of pace and spacing, Sampson's teams still play with his familiar ruggedness. This is not easy to replicate, Fraschilla said. What they've got right now is really old school, and I don't know if it's possible anymore. Kelvin Sampson creates standard for Houston basketball. Sampson spent most of last weekend in Indianapolis holding court like a 69-year-old coach who's seen almost everything. He deadpanned jokes about doubling his melatonin dose to sleep after a 10:29 p.m. Friday night tip-off against Purdue, and spun yarns about playing against Rick Barnes' Lenoir Rhine teams when Sampson was at UNC Pembroke 50 years ago.